We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, can they hear me yet? Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Perspectives Corner. I am your host, Rhona Bennett. Sounds a little interesting in my ears tonight. I hope it sounds good to you. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we are going to do a continuation of Awakening the Giant Within with Mr. Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys tuned in last week, but we were talking about manifesting your destiny, and I played a half hour of the beginning of Awakening the Giant Within, which was a bestseller for Anthony Robbins, who is a world-renowned, a master coach, master life coach. He's definitely a mentor of mine that I've never met, and I'm looking very forward to meeting him one day. He doesn't know it yet, but we homies. And I've just done a lot of growing with his material. I hope that you get as much from it as I have. Before we get started, I guess I should let you guys know a little bit, about some of the things that I'm doing. I have started a new video series on my YouTube channel. It's called The Freedom Papers. And basically, I'm going to be coming on camera every week and giving one tip as to how you can live a more liberated life, how you can live life with more freedom. Who doesn't want more freedom, right? So definitely come on board, subscribe to the channel, say hello to the other subscribers. My channel name is Rhona Bennett. So holla at your girl. If you haven't gotten your copies of my 2 mini books that have been out, be sure to pick them up at rhonabennett.com. Got Motivation, How to Stay Motivated. Basically, these books have been designed for the now generation. And when I say the now generation, I mean, I know that we all feel like we're pressed for time. And sometimes you just don't feel like you can carve out enough space to do a lot of the reading that you may want to do, but you do want the information. You're still hungry. So I did my best to take the years of study and experience and wisdom that I've been able to acquire over the years and condense that into like a power-packed punch for you in these mini books. So pick them up and let them help you take the next best step in your life. My second mini book is Find and Pursue Your Passion, even with a regular job. I mean, how many of us want to do that? Live a life fulfilled and truly understand what it would be like to live in joy, even while you're doing whatever you have to do, to get by or to make a living, but to be creating a living for yourself that brings forth more joy, more harmony, more peace in your world. Let that book help you as well. And then I've got a third mini book coming soon. Yay! This has been such a challenge, y'all, to write this book because it's not necessarily my main focus, although it's a very important focus in my life. I definitely believe in having the Trinity together, body, mind, and spirit. So my next book is about nutrition, just about understanding our food and how to eat better on a budget. Because that's that's a question that I see a lot of people get. That's a question that I've gotten. Like, it's so expensive to eat healthy. And I was like, you know what? That's something that people really need and want to know about. So let me do the work. Let me do the legwork. Get out there and start to understand how can people invest in a way that's smart and cost effective for healthier eating. Because at the end of the day, that's so important to our ability to manifest and stay in a positional or vibrational alignment with the things that we really want in life. If we're sluggish, if we don't have the vitality, the energy, the clarity, the mental space or the support of nutrition in our body to support the mental space for where we want to go, it can cause a problem with our manifestation. It can cause a problem for our experience, the things that we want to create and experience. So that book is coming soon. But Yeah, I love to start the show with a song that kind of sets the tone for where we're going. A young lady that I'm starting to get more familiar with and that I really, really dig her music, Janelle Monáe. She came out with a single recently, and she is so gorgeous to me. Go check out her video for this song in particular. But she collaborated with Erykah Badu on her latest single. It's called Queen, and I believe it's an acronym. I don't know what it's specifically meaning as of yet, but listen to this song and listen to her rap at the end. Killer. We'll be right back.
They be like, ooh, she's surfing face. And I just tell them, cut me up and get down. They call us dirty cause we break all your rules down. And we just came to act a fool, is that alright? Girl, that's alright. They be like, ooh, let them eat cake. But we eat wang and throw them bones on the ground. Am I a freak? Am I for that? A freak sit round. Am I a freak? Don't forget to sit down. I'm cutting up. Don't cut me down. Yeah, I wanna be. Is it peculiar that she twerk in the mirror? And am I weird to dance alone late at night? And is it true we're all insane? And I just tell them no we ain't and get down. I heard this life is just a play with no rehearsal. I wonder will this be my final act tonight? And tell me what's the price of fame? Am I a sinner with my skirt on the ground? Am I a freak? For that, am I a freak? Am I a freak? Forget, don't sit down. I'm cutting up, don't cut me down. Judge me now. Yeah, I wanna be. Hey brother, can you save my soul from the devil? Say, is it weird to like the way she wear her tights? And is it rude to wear my shade? Am I a freak because I love watching marriage? Hey sister, am I good enough for your heaven? Say, would your God accept me in my black and white? Would he approve the way I'm made? Or should I reprogram, deprogram, and get down? Am I a freak? For that, sit round. Am I a freak? Forget, sit down. I'm cutting up, don't cut me down. Yeah, I wanna be. Even if it makes others uncomfortable, I will love you. Even if it makes others uncomfortable, cut me up, I will love who I am. Straight to the break of dawn. Don't make me think so tough. I can't take it no more, baby. We had to see those through. Red rose and eat my door. Crazy in the black and white. We got the drum so tight, baby. Here comes the freedom song. Too strong, we moving on. Baby, this melody will show you another way. Been trying for far too long. Come home and sing your song, baby. But you got to testify. Because the booty don't lie. No, the booty don't lie. Oh no, the booty don't lie.
Yeah, let's flip it. I don't think they understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I asked a question like this. Are we a lost generation of our people? Add us to equations, but they'll never make us equal. She who writes the movie on the script and the sequel. So why ain't the stealing of my rights made illegal? They keep us underground, working hard but are greedy. But when it's time to pay, they turn around and call us needy. My crown too heavy like the queen Nefertiti. Give me back my pyramid, I'm trying to free Kansas City. Mixing you preach.
Wow. I was like, all right, Janelle, you better say whatever you just said. Super powerful sister. Beautiful woman. Check out her video. I really just, I don't know, I was brought in with the whole visual. You know, she's very creative, but I love the message with her song. I like her unique style of music and just unique style of being who she is. Becoming a fan, a major fan of Janelle Monáe. So, like I said, welcome back to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Tonight, we're going to continue Awakening the Giant Within with Tony Robbins. I don't know if you were able to tune in last week, but we were talking about manifesting your destiny, and we listened to the first part of Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within, and we also listened to a recording from another master teacher in Stephen R. Covey. He is the famed author of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, and I highly recommend that you check out that book. We were listening to the 8th habit that he added on to the 7th habit last week, and I'm still finishing that recording. I think it's always good to keep up a wonderful arsenal of books, of recordings, go to seminars, whatever you can get your hands on to feed your knowledge, and especially in the field that you're most interested in. Keep building. And that's what this information is here to do for us tonight. And hopefully the things that I continue to share in the future will help you to continue to build, open your mind up to some different possibilities, and to truly take a bold step towards what you really want to have manifested in your life. So, okay, we're about to dig in to the rest of this recording. We won't finish all of it, quite, but you're going to get another big chunk out of Tony tonight. That's who I'm deciding to feature all by his lonesome. So enjoy the recording. Get you a pen, get you a pad, or sit in front of your iPad or your computer. Take some great notes. There's a point where we're going to actually pause for you to write some stuff down so that you can really participate and use this information. Don't just listen to it. Actually use it. Take it, write it down, make it real, and help yourself take the next best step. Okay? So, Anthony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within.
Reason guides but a small part of man, and that the least interesting. The rest obeys feeling, true or false, and passion, good or bad. Joseph Roux. Nature has placed mankind under the government of 2 sovereign masters, pain and pleasure. They govern us in all we do, in all we say, in all we think. Every effort we make to throw off our subjection will serve but to demonstrate and confirm it. Jeremy Bentham. The secret of success is learning how to use pain and pleasure instead of having pain and pleasure use you. If you do that, you're in control of your life. If you don't, life controls you. Anthony Robbins.
Human beings are not random creatures. Everything we do for a reason. We may not be aware of the reason consciously, but there is a driving force behind all human behavior. The force is simply this. Everything you and I do, we do either out of our need to avoid pain or out of our desire to gain pleasure. Now, I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but I'm here to tell you these twin powers of pain and pleasure, or what I call the triple P, the pain-pleasure principle, have controlled every decision you've made consciously or unconsciously throughout your entire life. The pain-pleasure principle is the force that drives your decisions about what to wear, where you go, how you get there, what to do for a living, who you're in a relationship with, whether you're fit or fat. It also prevents most people from taking the first step on the pathway of possibilities, the one that could enrich the quality of their lives immediately. For example, have you ever procrastinated? Of course you have. What is procrastination? It's what happens when you know you should do something, but you don't. Now, why don't you take that action? Simply because you link more pain to taking action than you do to putting it off. Procrastination means putting off the pain, and that's why you do it. But haven't you had a time in your life when you procrastinated so long that eventually one day it reversed on you and you had to stop procrastinating in a moment? Maybe around April 14th, for example. What happened on that day? You simply changed what you linked pain to. All of a sudden, your brain began to link up that not taking action will be much more painful than just getting your taxes done. This doesn't happen only in the realm of taxes, though, does it? I mean, if you've been in a destructive relationship and finally made the decision to use your personal power and take action and change your life, it's probably because you hit a level of pain you weren't willing to settle for anymore. You finally decided that not only was this relationship painful today, but it had been painful in the past, and most importantly, you became certain it would be painful in the future. You see, when we link pain to the past, the present, and the future, we hit a threshold that can quickly propel us to take action and make immediate changes. The problem is that most of us decide what to do based on what's going to create pain or pleasure in the short term instead of the long term. Why is this a problem? Well, because in order to succeed, most of the things that we value most require us to be able to break through the wall of short-term pain in order to have the long-term pleasure in the first place. This is a critical point, especially when you combine it with the fact that it's not actual pain that drives us, but really our fear that something will lead to pain. And it's not actual pleasure that drives us either, but our belief, our sense of certainty, that is, that somehow taking a certain action is going to lead to something that we really want, some real pleasurable emotion. In other words, we're not driven by reality, but by our perceptions of reality. Realize right now that the fear of pain wears many guises. It may look like fear of failure, or fear of success, or fear of the unknown, or fear that people will judge us. But no matter what you call it, you can always trace your behavior and whether or not you take action to the singular cause of what you link pain and pleasure to. If you're failing to take action in any area of your life, you can be assured there's one reason. You've learned to associate more pain to taking action than not taking action. And therefore, there's only one way to make a change. Change what you link pain and pleasure to. Otherwise, you can make a short-term change, but it's not going to last. You can put yourself on a diet, for example, and you can push yourself and discipline yourself. But as long as you link pain to eating the foods that'll support you, I'm here to tell you, you'll always be overweight. You must change what you associate in your gut. Willpower is not enough. Now, another term for these pain-pleasure linkages I call neuroassociations. Simply, this means the associations that you and I establish within our nervous system that determines what we'll do. And the good news is this: we can learn to condition our minds, bodies, and emotions to link pain or pleasure to whatever we choose. That's the secret to changing your whole life, all your behaviors, all your actions, and your results. By changing what we link pain and pleasure to, we can instantly change our behavior. Let me offer an example of how I did this with myself. In my own life, in spite of my parents' best efforts, there were times when my family didn't always have enough money even to buy the foods that we all wanted most. So when I became an adult and started earning a substantial income, I found myself overeating on a regular basis, especially those foods I always wanted. And eventually I achieved balance, but only after gaining and then having to lose 38 pounds. Recently, I realized I linked pain to not eating everything on my plate. I mean, if it was on my plate, I had to eat it. I was compelled. And I realized I needed to change this disempowering association because recently I'd gotten larger plates and I was eating more and more food. I clearly needed to condition my mind and emotions to link pain to overeating and pleasure to the idea of eating lighter foods and smaller amounts. Most importantly, I needed to link pleasure to the first step to losing weight. And I want to reinforce that. Most of us give ourselves pain when we screw up, but we don't give ourselves pleasure when we want to move ahead. See, I began to link pleasure to pushing the plate away while there was still food on it. This went totally against my past conditioning. You need to eat everything you've got while it's there. I was able to change this simply by conditioning myself. I began to push the plate away while I cranked up my favorite music, working myself into a peak state and feeling the sensations of pleasure as I pushed the plate away again and again. I repeated this process over and over until pretty soon it felt great to push away my plate and the food was still on it. You can't imagine what a freeing experience this was for me. So what's the first step to creating a change? The first step is simply becoming aware of the power that pain and pleasure, or neuroassociations, exert over every decision, therefore every action that we take. This awareness means understanding these linkages, the linkages between ideas and words and images and sounds and the sensations of pain and pleasure. They're happening constantly. Unless you and I take conscious control of this constant stream of linkages that our brains are making, then they're going to happen unconsciously, automatically. Your brain, with or without your conscious guidance, continually processes what your senses are perceiving, and it forms an intricate network of gut-level linkages between ideas, images, sounds, events, feelings, and your memory of what leads to pain and what leads to pleasure. Anytime you experience a significant amount of pain or pleasure, either emotionally or physically, your brain immediately searches for a cause. And once your brain discovers this cause-effect relationship, it links up that association in your nervous system so that in the future you won't have to experience the pain again. It becomes a warning signal that you are able to search for whenever you enter a situation like this. It also guides you in knowing what to do to get back into pleasurable emotional states and do it more quickly than if you didn't have this system. This is our most basic survival instinct at work. Now, problems can arise, though, when we make false connections. Envision a baby crawling along the edge of a couch. If he reaches the edge, is it possible that he'll continue to crawl until he falls? Absolutely. Why? Because the baby has no associations in his nervous system linking going over the edge to pain. And if the poor baby does fall, he may not link up the pain of falling with coming to the edge of the couch, at least not initially. He may simply decide that couches cause pain, so he may avoid couches altogether until he makes the proper distinction. The problem of making false connections, of course, is not limited to toddlers. Grown-ups do it too. I once knew a woman who was a very successful artist who hadn't had a relationship with a man for 12 years. Now, this woman had once been extremely passionate about everything she did, and it's what made her such a great artist. But you know what happened? Because she'd been so passionate in that relationship that bottomed out 12 years before, she asked herself what was the cause of the pain, and her brain linked up that her passion had destroyed the relationship. So she decided never to get passionate in a relationship again. This is what we call a false neuroassociation. She had determined a false cause. The real culprit was that she and her partner had different values. They had different rules. Yet you can understand that because she linked pain to her passion, she started avoiding it unconsciously at all costs. But then she began to feel pain because she missed the passion. This is a perfect example of the strange ways in which we all sometimes wire ourselves. And you and I must understand these distinctions so we don't fall prey as well. The danger is that we often set up false neuroassociations that exert a negative control over our entire lives. If an inexperienced person makes his first attempt at speaking in public and he doesn't do very well, he may establish a neuroassociation that links public speaking with pain. Later, he'll use this same experience to back up the idea of never getting up before an audience again. False neuroassociations can be incredibly destructive then. That's why it's so critical to evaluate any associations we have in our mind and see, are they really true? Or did we link up a false cause? We've got to evaluate linkages before they become a part of our unconscious decision-making process. So often we blame the wrong cause and thereby close ourselves off from possible solutions. Nevertheless, the instinct to create neuroassociations, that is, to link pain and pleasure to things and to map it out in our brains, has been shaped by millions of years of evolution. Our nervous systems have been designed to guide our decision-making process by developing a set of signals to teach our brains what to approach and what to avoid, especially what to avoid, since that plays a bigger role in your survival. Now, I'm not suggesting that you and I are totally controlled by our environment or that we are purely conditioned products of whatever we've been punished or rewarded for. Of course not. I'm not a believer in the behavioral hypothesis that says we are purely the result of our conditioning. But, and this is a big but, if we don't take control of that conditioning, I believe that these principles take over by default. The power that we have as human beings is such a unique gift in that we have the ability to override our experiences and consciously decide what will mean pain and what will mean pleasure. Anyone who succeeds in life has learned to override their conditioning. One decision that I made in my own life that's really shaped my destiny was that of linking incredible pleasure to learning. You see, I began to realize that learning how to shape human behavior and emotion could give me virtually everything I wanted in my life. I realized it could get me out of pain and into pleasure in a moment, that learning could unlock the secrets behind actions and therefore give me the key to producing results. And through that, I knew I could create a better life physically, that I'd be able to connect more deeply with the people I cared about, that I could get myself to take the kinds of actions that would make a difference in millions of people's lives and give me a sense of joy and fulfillment every day that I was alive. What are some of the experiences of pain and pleasure that have shaped your life? I mean, think about it for a moment. And I'm here to tell you that any part of your life that you want to change but haven't been able to, maybe a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, challenges in relationships, challenges in business, no matter what the challenge may be, it can be traced directly and ultimately to your neuroassociations of pain and pleasure. If you've been unable to create change in your life, it's because you link too much pain to taking the very actions that could create the change. How can we take control of this process then and forge our own neuroassociations? Start by becoming aware of when they're formed and control your focus in those moments. Let's say, for example, you leave for home after a frustrating day at work. When you get home, your spouse greets you at the door and tries to cheer you up, but it doesn't work. Why? Because you're so angry. You're angry about what's happened at work, and you're still steamed. You're seeing your spouse's face while you're in this angry state. Pretty soon, when you see their face, guess what you're going to feel? Angry. You have created an instant false neuroassociation. If you realize this, you can begin to interrupt this negative association before it takes hold. And the first step is to wake up and realize these associations are being made constantly. Remember, anytime you're in a peak state, whether it be positive or negative, be careful of what you focus on consistently while you're in that state, because whatever you notice while you're in that state will get linked neurologically. Next, begin to question your false neuroassociations. Winston Churchill once said, "Truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is." Churchill was right. The truth will eventually emerge if you just continue to question the false associations that have limited your life in the past. You can analyze them to death if nothing else. Finally, assume the power to change what you link pain and pleasure to. Remember that the foremost power is awareness. Remember also that trying to change your behavior in the short term will only create short-term results. You must change the cause, and that always is what you associate pain and pleasure to in this situation, and that'll give you the power to change your behavior over the long term. You can immediately take control by changing your focus. If right now you're afraid to take some action, begin to focus on the possibility of the price you'll pay if you don't take action, and that'll change what you associate to that decision. So many people don't take action because they focus on how much pain they think they'd have if they took action. You must instead focus on the pain of inaction and on the pleasure of taking action now.
It's my joint. What? Hey, what's no pain? No glory.
People hate
Speaking
to
of
hear
pain
bad
and
news,
pleasure.
Good news too. Usually when it's not for them, it's about you. Ain't that messed up? Boy, this world's a trip. Either they keeping you down or they pulling you down. Clip your wings so you can tail spin and hit the ground. We all here together on this spinning rock, trying to make some sense of this life we got. And I ain't met a man yet that got all the answers. And I ain't been nowhere yet where they not fighting cancer. I seen a good prison system that gives second chances. What's the hate for? What's the war for? Well, ask Wall Street. It's probably why they stocks soar. I'm just a dreamer, you know, John Lennon. But what do I know? My head stays spinning. A world full of hunger where people can't make it. They say we ain't got it. Man versus food can waste it.
I'm moving and I won't look back, no. I'ma get what's for me and get where I need to be. Won't let nothing get me off track, no. Yeah, it's a part of my story. No struggle, no glory.
The day I was born with two arms where they try to fit in. I refuse to conform. Yes, life, but there's more. Let me show you this story. I struggled so far to cover up these scars. The devil is so real. I feel him at work. Feel him breathing, it's burning my shirt. Both at one time, the gift and the curse. But known since way back to go on my mom's purse. Lessons I've learned, the heads that I've turned. It's not their concern. Watch as they burn. I rise to the top. None of us can stop. We own the whole block. Doors is unlocked. While all these jobs drop, they claim they saw cops, but we saw nothing. So we don't stop. Coolest freeze pops. The coldest 3 knocks. The drugs and bull stop. First I heard pop. Yeah.
I'm moving and I won't look back, no. I'ma get what's for me and get where I need to be. Won't let nothing get me off track, no. Yeah, it's a part of my story. No struggle, no glory.
Yes, indeed. It is
of the
This song
fantastic
feels so good to me.
give back to the people's children.
Love it. So Mr. Anthony Robbins was talking about the pain and pleasure principle of living. If you're looking to make a change, how much pain do you have associated with your old behavior so that it motivates you to go towards more pleasure, a more pleasurable way of being or behavior that's more suitable to where you want to be in your life? Basically, he's saying the more pain you have associated with something that you're currently doing, that's what's going to motivate you to go towards more pleasure. If you're getting more pleasure out of a destructive behavior, you won't make the change. It's really interesting, but it's all like science, you feel me? And what I love about the work of Anthony Robbins is that he breaks it down from not only a spiritual standpoint, because he's not necessarily steeped in the spiritual, but he does have balance with it. But he goes to the science of it. And he helps you to reprogram yourself by just making it really plain. Like, look, if you're experiencing more pleasure with a destructive behavior, you're not going to make the change. You've got to associate more pain to whatever that destructive behavior is so that it makes you want to do something more pleasurable, something that's going to move you in the direction of what would be best for you, more empowering, more healthy habit or behavior. So, okay, I got something cracking. What's that? Oh, this is the Congregation. You figured it out. Featuring Bishop Lamont, No Struggle, No Glory. That's who that you just heard. So if you want to go support the music, definitely a wonderful independent artist that I've always loved to feature on Perspectives Corner. And they get played out on LA Talk Live, period. Okay. But if you want to support the music, you can pick it up. The Congregation featuring Bishop Lamont, No Struggle, No Glory, made in 2011. Holla at you, girl. Love them. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, pay some bills. When we come back, we're going to finish up a few more of the amazing tools and tactics to learn how to reprogram yourself, learn how to recondition your mind, learn how to break patterns. As a matter of fact, I think the next section finishes off the pain-pleasure principle and it kind of integrates it, but it also talks about how to change a belief. How do you change a belief, something that's anchored in you that you've been reared up in, something that you've been conditioned to think, a way that you've been conditioned to respond to your environment? How do you change that? Stick around and find out through Mr. Anthony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. We'll be right back.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Do you suffer from degenerative diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, fibroid tumors, high cholesterol, genital herpes, or a plethora of other diseases that rob you of a quality life? If so, then visit the website of herbalist Tahuti Ma'atra at dhealthstore.com and open the door to natural healing at an affordable price. dhealthstore.com has over 1,800 products created by herbalist Tahuti Ma'atra, specifically designed to help you heal the natural and safe way. At dhealthstore.com, you'll find everything from herbal formulas and cleanses, such as Tahuti's famous Full Body Detox, as well as herbal teas, extracts, natural body butters, lotions, creams, children's products, hair care products, and of course, sexual enhancement products for both men and women. So visit the website of Tahuti Ma'atra, dhealthstore.com, or call toll free at 1-888-823-9416, dhealthstore.com.
Hello, this is Angela DeJoseph. Join me Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Angela DeJoseph Show. Join me as we venture into health, wealth. We're going to give you news, interviews, and entertainment. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, Live 365, Radio Flag, TiVo Radio, and now live on Facebook. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
You
Hey everybody, it's Miss R&B, and I'm inviting you to come and hang with me every Thursday night at 9 p.m. PST for Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett on America Talk Live. Hear and see interviews and live performances from some of our favorite celebrities and personalities in entertainment, sports, business, and the wellness industries. We're getting lifted and we're going deep, talking about life and empowering the champion in us all. See you there.
Hi, this is Dawn Christie inviting you to join me every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for my all-new show, The Dawn Christie Show. Join me as I discuss love, spiritual readings, your purpose, why am I born, what am I here to do. So don't forget to tune in The Dawn Christie Show at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV, reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Welcome back to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. That is the lovely vocal prowess of Miss Karen White, Unbreakable. The more I hear this record, the more I like it. It's a really good record. She also has another single called Carpe Diem. Support my girl. I'm about to invite Karen White back on the show because she wanted to come back. And I'm going to let her teach us through her life story because Karen's got a lot of stuff that she has gone through and that she has taken and allowed to make her stronger. And she was just like nicking the tip of that when she was at the show the last time. So I'm going to have her back and see what she wants to share from her own personal journey that can help us all take a better step in our lives. So a shout out to Karen White. Please support the music. These are independent artists. I mean, Karen, as you know, was a major artist back in the day, and now she has come back as her own businesswoman and put out her album. And she has made some really great music. So, you know, go out and support it. I think it's KarenWhite.com, right? And Karen is Karyn, right? Yeah, Karyn and White, White. KarenWhite.com. Check her out. Google her. Okay, we've been listening to Anthony Robbins tonight, Awaken the Giant Within. And you know, shout out to the Heat. I know they won the championship tonight. And I know it's some heartbroken. Yeah, shout out to the Heat. I am a LeBron fan. I know it's some haters out there, but I am happy for him. But shout out to the Spurs fans too. It was a great series, and I do like the Spurs. Yes. It was hard fought. Oh my gosh. So, okay, had to give a shout out to the NBA championship. So back to Mr. Anthony Robbins and Awakening the Giant Within. He's going to be touching on how to not only use the pain-pleasure principle in changing and breaking some habits and creating some new ones that will empower you, but also how do you change a belief? Check it out.
The belief that becomes truth for me is that which allows me the best use of my strength, the best means of putting my virtues into action. André Gide. It is the mind that maketh good of ill, that maketh wretch of happy, rich or poor. Edmund Spencer. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make our world. The Buddha.
Beliefs are what make the difference between a lifetime of joyous contribution and one of misery and devastation. Beliefs are what separate a Mother Teresa from a Charles Manson. Beliefs are what cause some individuals to become heroes, while others lead lives of quiet desperation. See, the power of beliefs is virtually unlimited. Our beliefs can literally create or destroy. Beliefs are not merely matters of emotion or action. They can literally change our bodies in a matter of moments. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Yale professor and best-selling author Dr. Bernie Siegel. As we began to speak about the power of belief, Bernie shared with me some of the research he'd done on people with multiple personality disorders. Incredibly, the potency of these people's beliefs, the belief that they had become a different person, resulted in an unquestioned command to their nervous system that made measurable changes in their biochemistry. Their bodies would literally transform before the researchers' eyes in a moment's notice. Patients' eye color actually changed as their personalities changed, literally from brown to blue. Physical markings on their bodies disappeared and reappeared. Even diseases such as diabetes or high blood pressure would come and go depending on the person's belief as to which personality they were truly manifesting. So what exactly is a belief? This thing that's so powerful. Basically, it's simply a feeling of certainty about what something means. It's a feeling that's supported by what we call references, by life experiences that hold that belief up. Think of an idea as a tabletop with no legs. There's nothing to support it. It's not solid. It becomes a belief the day you put legs underneath that tabletop. Now it's supported. Now it's solid. Now you feel certain. If you have a belief, for example, that you're sexy, that belief is supported by the events in your life. Your mate tells you that you're a terrific lover. You look good in your jeans. You work out every day. You keep your body in great shape, and you drive a hot car. You can develop a belief about anything as long as you find enough, quote, legs, in other words, enough references to support it. If you see yourself as a failure, for example, as someone who doesn't have the luck or the connections or the willpower of those who succeed, then that belief will govern your actions, and you'll most certainly mold exactly the life you predict for yourself. But if you honestly believe in your own capabilities, your capabilities to learn, to change, to adapt, to expand, to achieve personal breakthroughs, then your possibilities in life are literally unlimited. And you know what? You'll find references to back this up, to make yourself feel even more certain. And all personal breakthroughs, we must remember, begin with a change in our beliefs. How do we change our beliefs, though? The most effective way begins with understanding the pain-pleasure principle. Get your brain to associate enough massive pain to your old belief, and I promise you it'll change in a heartbeat. You've got to feel deep in your gut that not only has this belief cost you pain in the past, but it's costing you pain in the present, and ultimately, it can take away everything you desire from your future. Then you need to associate tremendous pleasure to the idea of adopting a new, empowering belief. Another important element in changing a disempowering belief is to create doubt. See, if you're really honest with yourself, aren't there some beliefs that you used to defend heart and soul years ago that today you'd almost be embarrassed to admit you even had? What happened to those beliefs? Something caused you to begin to doubt them. Maybe you had a new experience. Maybe something that ran counter to the experience that had propped up that old belief. Maybe, for example, you met some Russians and found out they were people just like you. They weren't part of some evil empire. Or maybe you discovered that if you relaxed and you really let yourself enjoy it, you really could look pretty good on the dance floor. In any case, something happened that planted a seed of doubt in your old limiting belief. Your mind began to re-examine or question your belief. And that's the key to beginning to break up your old limiting beliefs. If you question anything enough, eventually you'll begin to doubt it. This is a tremendously effective strategy for shedding disempowering beliefs. I mean, haven't you done this with yourself? Aren't there areas in your life where you've doubted yourself? How did you do it? You asked yourself lousy questions like, well, what if I screw up? What if I don't follow through? What if I forget what I'm supposed to do? And as you ask these questions, you begin to doubt yourself. Why not use this force for good and use it to destroy the limiting beliefs in your life? And as you question an old belief, begin to build up evidence to support your new beliefs, one that'll empower you. Give it legs. If you build up a belief enough, it'll become something even stronger. It becomes a conviction. A conviction now is a belief that is reinforced by even more powerful references. It's an irresistible force for change. For example, let's say you've decided never to eat meat again. To strengthen your resolve, talk to people who've chosen a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle. What reasons prompted them to change their diet? And what have been the consequences on their health and other areas of their life? What benefits have they received? In addition, begin to study the physiological impact that animal protein has upon our bodies. The more references you develop, the more emotional these references are, the stronger your conviction will become. It becomes a conviction if you decide to go to a slaughterhouse and watch what's being destroyed in front of your very eyes and what you're going to eat. I can promise you then it'll go from a belief that you shouldn't do this into a conviction that says, I couldn't consume this ever again. Third, find a triggering event that'll push you over the edge and make it a conviction. Or else create one of your own, just as I've described. For example, if you want to develop a conviction never to abuse drugs, make the painful consequences of drug abuse real to yourself. Watch some films, or better yet, visit a shelter and see firsthand how drug use devastates people's lives. If you vowed to give up smoking, visit the intensive care wing of a hospital and see the emphysema patients confined to oxygen tents, or look at an x-ray of a smoker's black lungs. These kinds of experiences have the power to push you over the edge and establish true conviction. Finally, take action. Each action you take strengthens your commitment and raises the level of your emotional intensity and conviction. So begin today to develop a habit of focusing on the consequences of your beliefs. This, more than anything else, began to change my life. Become conscious. Wake up to their impact. Are they strengthening your foundation by moving you to action in the direction you desire, or are they holding you back? Right now, take 5 minutes on a piece of paper and brainstorm every belief you can think of that empowers you. Write them all down. Then take an equal amount of time and write down all the disempowering beliefs that you can think of that have limited you in your past. Stop this tape right now and do this. Too often in life we listen to a tape or we read a book and we don't really use what we're reading. Please take a moment and do this now. Stop the tape now.
Okay, so we are going to pause and actually do this homework, baby. This is to help us take the next bold step towards what we really want. If you want to make this real, if you're looking to really manifest some things in your life, we got to take this stuff seriously and do the work. So we're going to turn on something kind of fly. No lyrics, but just to kind of keep us going. We're going to pause for about 3 to 5 minutes. Write down the things that he asked you to write down. Focus in on what it is, and then come back to the information, and let's see what's revealed. more seconds. Okay, I'm loving this music. It's very relaxing. It's good thinking music. Pain and pleasure. Changing our belief system, changing our patterns so that we take control of our lives. We're going to tap back into Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within.
Welcome back. Now, you did the exercise, didn't you? I'm assuming you really followed through. If you didn't, stop this tape now and go back and do this. This is my poor impression of Sam Kinison. I'm going to come get you unless you make a change. Back to our story. As you review your beliefs now, knowing you've done this, what have you learned? Now, circle 3 of the empowering beliefs, the most empowering beliefs on your list, and ask yourself a couple questions. How does this belief really empower me? How does it strengthen my life? Once you've done this, by being aware of these beliefs, I can promise you, you'll use them more. Now do the opposite. Go to the opposite list and circle the 2 most limiting beliefs you have. The 2 that hold you back the most, that keep you really from achieving what you want. Look at their consequences to your life. Feel the pain that comes from what they're cheating you out of. And decide once and for all that you're no longer willing to pay the price that they're charging you for your life. Knock the legs out from under them by asking yourself questions like, how is this belief ridiculous or absurd? And really take the time to answer it. Was the person I learned this belief from worth modeling in this area? Were they an expert? Were they producing results? Ask yourself, what will it ultimately cost me emotionally if I don't let go of this belief? What will it ultimately cost me in my relationships? What will it cost me physically or financially? What will it cost my family or my loved ones if I don't change this belief? Your goal is get some leverage on yourself. In addition, these questions will begin the process of linking pain to your old beliefs. So concentrate on the aspects of your answers. Link these limiting beliefs to such intense pain that you'll want to rid yourselves of them forever. Then write down their replacements. What will you now believe instead that'll empower you? If you're not getting the results you want in your life, I suggest that you ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to succeed in this situation? Or who's already succeeding in this area? And what do they believe differently than I do that's probably helping them to succeed? Or what's necessary to believe in order to succeed in this situation? By asking these questions, you may very well discover the key belief that's really been eluding you. And if you're experiencing pain, if you feel challenged or frustrated or angry, you may want to ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to feel the way I do right now? See, the miracle of this simple process is that it will help you to uncover the beliefs that you're not even aware of that you have and they're limiting you. For example, if you're feeling depressed and you ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to feel depressed? You'll probably come up with something that relates to the future, like I'm believing that things will never get better or that there's no hope. And when you hear these beliefs verbalized, you might well think, I don't believe that. I feel bad right now, but I know sooner or later it's going to get better. Things aren't going to be bad forever. This too shall pass. Or you may just decide that a belief about having problems permanently is totally destructive and one you're not willing to even consider again. And this will affect you not only now, but it'll affect all of your beliefs in the future as well. Beliefs have the awesome potential to create or to destroy. Your beliefs can give you the power to create massive, immediate, and empowering changes in your life, or they can smother any hope you have for a better future. I believe you picked up this tape because deep down inside, you decided you no longer want to settle for less than the best. You know you're capable of more. Are you ready now to harness the power to create the vision that you want? then simply learn to choose the beliefs that empower you, to create convictions that drive you in the direction, the destiny that calls to the highest that's within you. There is absolutely no reason to settle for anything less.
Okay, so we are coming to the end of the hour, but I'm going to go ahead and let us play out the 6 things that Tony says you can do in order to truly change your belief patterns, make this effective change that he's talking about. So thank you so much for tuning in to Perspectives Corner tonight. I hope that you're gathering as much information from this that I intended that you would, and that you're taking this seriously enough to go ahead and write it down, make it real, utilize these exercises, because that's what the thing is. We'll take in this knowledge and we won't utilize it. We won't use it. And so it becomes, something that just kind of passes you by, as opposed to getting this stuff and actually doing the work and staying consistent enough with it so that it really can affect real change in your life. So stick around if you'd like for the next 20 minutes, and it's going to give you 6 things that you can do specifically to make this change that he's talking about. You have been listening to Awaken the Giant Within with Mr. Anthony Robbins. You've also been tuned in to Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. I appreciate your presence. Come and visit me at RhonaBennett.com. Come and visit me at Rhona Bennett on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the Freedom Papers new video series that I am implementing, where I give you a tip every week to live a more liberated life, to live life with more freedom. So until next time, all the best.
But we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Corinthians chapter 15, verse 51. Give me a lever long enough and a prop strong enough, I can single-handedly move the world. Archimedes. There is nothing training cannot do. Nothing is above its reach. It can turn bad morals into good. It can destroy bad principles and recreate good ones. It can lift men to angelship. Mark Twain.
I got a question for you. How many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is simple, only one. But it's very expensive, it takes a long time, and the light bulb has to want to change. This is just a joke, but it illustrates a myth in our culture that says change takes a long time, that's a terrific struggle, and that can be incredibly costly in many ways, emotionally, physically, financially. I'm here to tell you that's garbage. See, I'm here to tell you that you can change anything about your life instantly with the right technology, the right strategy. And I'm going to give you that strategy right now. But first, I want you to think about something. Every change you've ever made in your life actually happened in a moment, didn't it? What took time was getting yourself to the point where you finally did what was ever necessary to make it happen. Now, let me share with you my science of neuroassociative conditioning, or NAC as we call it for short. Sometimes we even call it NAC. NAC is a step-by-step process that can help you to condition your nervous system to associate massive pleasure with the things you want so that you continuously do whatever it takes to move towards them. And it also will show you how to link pain with those things that you need to avoid doing in order to really succeed consistently throughout your entire life. It'll also free you from having to constantly use effort and willpower, because it will empower you to allow your unconscious mind to take over. So you're on automatic pilot because you've been conditioned to succeed. Remember, it's the feelings that we've been conditioned to associate in our nervous systems, again, our neuroassociations, that determine our real feelings and behavior. When we take control of our neuroassociations, we take control of our lives. With NAC, you can condition those neuroassociations so that you're empowered to take action and produce results consistently. NAC is designed to create consistent and lasting change. What are the 2 changes that everyone wants in their life? Isn't it true that we all want to change either how we feel about things or our behaviors? I mean, if you've been through a tragedy, you've lost a loved one, you've been raped, you're lacking self-esteem, you'll remain in pain until the sensations you link to yourself or to those events or to those situations are changed. That is until you change how you feel about them. See, if you overeat, if you drink too much, if you smoke or take drugs, then you have a set of behaviors that must change. The only way this can happen is by linking pain to those old behaviors and pleasure to the new ones. Well, there I go again. I've said it again. I know it sounds so simple, but what I've really found is that in order for us to be able to create true change, change that lasts, we need to develop a specific system for utilizing any kind of technique that we might learn to create change. And you know what? There are many. Every day I'm picking up new skills and new technologies from a variety of sciences, but I always come back to the same 6 fundamental steps that the science of NAC, neuroassociative conditioning, puts forth. I created NAC as a way to use any technology for change. Anything you've ever learned, you'll be able to apply within this system. So what NAC really provides is a specific syntax. That is an order and sequence of ways of using anything you've learned to create long-term, effective, and constant change. And by the way, the word syntax sometimes hooks people. Syntax can be used in the form of language. If I say to you, the dog bit Johnny, or Johnny bit the dog, I use the same exact tool, same words, but I change the order and sequence or the syntax, and it's a very different experience, especially if you're Johnny. Now, to make syntax most effective, there are 2 shifts in beliefs that you may have to make within yourself. The first belief we must have if we're going to create change quickly is that we can change right now. Now, there is a challenge, and that is our cultural programming teaches us that changing significant problems quickly, well, that's impossible. That to change quickly means we never even have the problem at all. But in fact, it's not change itself that takes time. Remember, it's getting ready to change that takes time. The change itself occurs in an instant. Why not make that instant right now? See, it's up to you and I to get ourselves ready to change, and we can do it immediately. We don't have to wait. And the second belief that you and I must have if we're going to really create long-term change is that we're responsible for our own change, not anyone else. We've got to see ourselves as the source and the agent of change. If we don't, we'll always be looking for someone else to make the change for us, and we'll always have someone else to blame when it doesn't work out. Now, with these 2 beliefs in mind, I'm now going to give you the 6 master steps to change that are the basis of NAC, neuroassociative conditioning. These 6 steps will show you how to create a direct highway out of pain and into pleasure with no disempowering detours. I challenge you to choose something you really want to change in your life right now, so that as we go through these steps, you can take action and follow through with each of the steps. So you can really produce actions and results because you've listened to them. So let's begin. Here are the 6 master steps of NAC. Step 1 is simply this. Decide, what do you really want and what's preventing you from having it now? See, when I do private counseling with people, I often ask people what they really want out of their life, or they're telling me a problem, I ask them what they want instead. And an amazing number of these people will spend 15 minutes telling me what they don't want. See, remember, you get whatever you focus on in life. If you keep focusing on what you don't want, you'll just get more of it. Change that focus. Decide what you do want. The more specific you can be about it, the more clarity you'll have and the more power you'll command to achieve what you want more rapidly. At the same time, we need to learn what's preventing us from having what we do want. These are the disempowering beliefs reviewed a few minutes ago. And again, I keep saying it again and again because I don't want you to forget it. Invariably, what's preventing us from making the changes is that we link more pain to making the change than staying where we are. If you're really going to change, then you've got to change these associations. You've got to knock the supports out from under these disempowering beliefs and use that list of doubt-creating questions I just gave you to be able to weaken them. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 always is get leverage. Get leverage on yourself. Get yourself to associate massive pain to not changing now and massive pleasure with the experience of changing right now. See, change is not a question of capability. It's a question of motivation. If someone put a gun to your head and said, you better get out of that depressed state and start feeling happy now, I'll bet you could find a way to change your emotional state for the moment, couldn't you? But the problem for most of us, most of the time, is that change doesn't feel like it's a must. It feels like something we should do, something that we ought to do, we'd like to do someday, not something we absolutely must do right now without waiting another second. And that's the problem. See, the only way we're going to make a change now is if we create a sense of urgency that's so intense that we're compelled to follow through right now, in this moment. If we want to create change, then we have to realize that it's not a question of whether we can do it, it's a question of whether we will do it. See, whether we will do it comes down to a matter of motivation. Down once again to those twin pillars that shape our lives, pain and pleasure. To get true leverage, ask yourself pain-inducing questions. Questions like, what will this cost me if I don't change? What will I miss out in my life if I don't make this shift now? What's it already costing me mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, and spiritually in my life? See, the key here is make the pain of not changing so real, so intense, that you can't put off taking action any longer. Then start using pleasure-associating questions to help you link those positive feelings to the idea of changing so you really want it. Ask questions like, if I do change, how will that make me feel about myself? What kind of momentum could I create if I change this in my life right now? What other things could I accomplish if I really made this change today? How will my family and friends feel? How much happier will I be? See, the key is to get lots of reasons, or better yet, strong enough reasons to change what you're doing right now immediately, not someday in the future. If you're not driven to make the change now, then you don't have enough leverage. It's that simple. And by the way, I hope right now as you're listening to me, you're doing this with a change you want to make. You can stop this tape at each step if you'd like. Have you decided what you really want to change? What do you really want in your life? Have you figured out what's been preventing you? And have you made it painful enough you must change and pleasurable enough that you must change because you want to? If so, then let's move on to the next step. Because now what you've done so far is you've linked pain in your nervous system to not changing and pleasure to making the change. So now you're ready for the third step. Step 3 is interrupt the limiting pattern. See, in order to get new results in our lives, it's not enough to just know what we want and get leverage on ourselves. You see, we can be highly motivated to change, but if we keep doing the same things, running the same inappropriate, disempowering patterns, our lives are not going to change, and all we're going to experience is more pain, more frustration. One of the best ways to interrupt your own pattern, or somebody else's for that matter, is to do something that a person doesn't expect. Things that are radically different than they've experienced before, or do this to yourself. For example, when I did private therapy with people would come in to see me and they'd sit down in my office and they'd start to say, my problem is, and then they'd start to burst into tears out of control. I would suddenly stand up and shout, excuse me, and I would just jolt them. And I'd follow up with, we haven't started yet. Usually they responded with disbelief and they'd say, I'm so sorry. And they'd immediately regain control, which proved that they already knew how to change the way they feel. Think of some of the ways that you can interrupt your own patterns. Do you need to do something differently? Some weird action? Would some weird new word break your pattern? Would a change of scenery, a silly laugh, a disgusting noise? Take a moment and think up some of the most enjoyable and disruptive ways you can interrupt your limiting and destructive patterns. Those patterns of being frustrated or worried or overwhelmed, for example. See, next time you start to feel depressed, jump up, look at the sky, and yell in your most idiotic tone of voice, hallelujah, my feet don't stink today. See, a stupid, silly move like this will definitely shift your attention, change your state, and it'll definitely change the states of anyone around you. They'll realize that you're no longer depressed, you're just crazy. Another way to break patterns is by scrambling the sensations that we link to our memories. For example, if your boss yells at you and you mentally rerun the experience the rest of the day, picturing him or her yelling at you over and over again, then you're going to feel progressively worse. So why let the experience continue to affect you? Try this. See that same situation in your mind that was bothering you so much. Picture it as if it was a movie. Don't feel upset about it. Just watch it one time, seeing everything that happened. Then take that movie and turn it into a cartoon. Sit up in your chair with a big silly grin on your face, breathe deeply, and run the image backwards as fast as you can so that everything happens in reverse. If the scene is your boss yelling, watch him swallow his words, for example. Then run through the cartoon forward again in fast motion. Change the colors of the images so everybody's face is rainbow colored. Grow big Mickey Mouse ears on your boss's head and a big long Pinocchio nose. Do this at least a dozen times back and forth, sideways, scrambling the image in your mind. Create some goofy music to go along with it. The speed of this whole process is also real important. You want to create impact on yourself. A lot of crazy, intense humor that'll break your pattern of negative, disempowering emotions. Why don't you stop right now and try this? Again, close your eyes, see something that's bothering you, run it backwards as fast as you can. Change the images, change the colors, change the sounds. Now, if you do this back and forth several dozen times, or at least a dozen times, you'll discover that if you've done it effectively, you've easily broken the pattern so that now when you try and think of that situation, it's virtually impossible to get back those negative feelings. It's the equivalent of taking a record and taking a needle and scratching across it back and forth, back and forth. It'll never play the same way again. Now, this technique works with things that have been bothering you for years. It sounds so ridiculous, but test it and you'll see it does, in fact, produce results. It's often a much more effective approach than trying to analyze the whys and the wherefores of a situation. Because after all, that doesn't change the sensations that you link about something in your body. The reason this scrambling technique works is that all of our feelings are based on the images that we focus on in our minds and the sensations we link to those images and sounds. As we change the images, we change how we feel. Conditioning this again and again makes it increasingly difficult to get back into that old pattern. Now, once you've broken that pattern that's been holding you back, you'll have the open space for the next step. Step 4, create a new empowering alternative. This fourth step is absolutely critical to establishing a long-term change, not a short-term change. In fact, the failure by most people to find an alternative way of getting out of pain and into the feelings of pleasure is probably the major reason why most people's changes are only temporary. Many people get to the point where they have to change, where change is a must, because they link so much pain to the old pattern, they link so much pleasure to the idea of changing. They even interrupt their old pattern. But after that, they have nothing to replace the old pattern. Remember, all of your neurological patterns are designed to help you to get out of pain and into pleasure. So once you quit smoking, for example, you need to come up with a new way, preferably a lot of new ways to relax or to manage your stress or to provide whatever benefits you used to get when you smoked. See, if your old behavior was excessive worry, what new behavior can you replace it with? How about massive action and a plan you have for meeting your ultimate goals? Or maybe you can replace depression with a focus on how to help others who are in need. And this may help you if you're not sure how to get yourself out of pain and to feel pleasure as the replacement for your old smoking, drinking, worrying, or whatever undesirable emotion or behavior was. You can find the answer by modeling people who've turned things around for themselves. Find people who've made lasting changes. I guarantee you'll find out that they had alternatives to replace their old behavior. These first 4 steps create real change. But for how long? What if you stop smoking for a year or even 2, but then you find yourself taking up cigarettes again? What if you lose 40, 80, or 100 pounds, but then gain it all back again? To prevent backsliding, to be sure that change is lasting change, you need to take the next step in neuroassociative conditioning. Step 5, condition the new pattern until it's consistent. See, conditioning is the way to make sure that a change you create lasts long term. The simplest way to condition something is just to rehearse it. Imagine yourself doing your new empowering behavior repeatedly until you can clearly see that it will get you out of pain and into pleasure quickly, and until it feels good to you. This is critical, because if you don't do this, you'll probably go back to your old pattern. You've got to rehearse your new alternative again and again with tremendous emotional intensity. Your brain will then literally carve out a new pathway, and with conditioned repetition, that pathway will become a highway to this new way of achieving results. You and I can't overestimate the power of conditioning. I read recently that Larry Bird was doing a soft drink commercial in which he was supposed to miss a jump shot, and he made 9 baskets in a row before he could get himself to miss. That's how strongly he's conditioned himself over the years. When the ball hits his hands, he automatically goes through a pattern that's designed to put it through the hoop. And here's a critical distinction. Don't just condition yourself initially. Set yourself up with a schedule to reinforce your new behavior. What can you give yourself, for example, for succeeding? Don't wait until you've gone a month or a year without smoking. When you've gone a day, give yourself a reward. Link pleasure to this new behavior so it stays reinforced and it becomes consistent. Don't wait until you've lost 80 pounds. Don't even wait until you've lost a pound. The minute you push the plate away with food still on it, give yourself a pat on the back. Do something that'll make yourself feel good for this action. See, the key here is to set up a series of short-term goals or milestones, and as you reach each one, immediately reward yourself. Don't wait. Make these rewards immediate. It's very important to link the sensations of pleasure with a pattern that you want and that's occurring currently. Remember that you're not making an intellectual connection. You're making an emotional one, a neurological one. You want to give your brain new associations on a very basic instinctual level. You want your nervous system to link great pleasure to this new change. Once you've accomplished these 5 steps, you've created a new pattern. The final step is to make sure it works. Step 6, test the new pattern for ecology and effectiveness. Your new pattern, this new approach to creating change, will need to fit into a variety of environments. The question you got to start to ask yourself is, does it really work in your business relationships? If you make this change, will that negatively affect your business, or will it continue to be strong? How does it affect your personal life? Does it really accomplish what you wanted originally when you were looking to make change? Remember that as destructive as they may have been, your old behaviors were providing you with some sort of positive impact. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been doing them. You see, your new behavior has to preserve those benefits and maybe even improve on them. Maybe the benefit was the ability to get pleasure, or the ability to produce a result, or the ability to communicate your needs, or to know that people really cared about you. And now you need to make certain your new pattern achieves these same goals, but does so in a more empowering way than crying or feeling sorry for yourself or being depressed, for example. So first, make sure that your new behavior fits into your core beliefs and values. Make sure it's in alignment with who you believe you are. Second, test to make sure these new strategies are firmly installed and working in concert. Run what I call an ecology check on your pattern. You can do it with 5 simple questions. 1, make certain that pain is fully associated with the old pattern. Ask yourself, when I think of the old behavior I used to do or the old feelings I used to indulge in, do I picture and feel things that are painful now instead of pleasurable? Do I see that as something that's unacceptable? If so, you're on the right first track. 2, notice and make certain that you've linked pleasure to the new pattern. Ask yourself, when I think about my new behavior or these new feelings that I focus on, do I picture and feel things that are pleasurable to me now instead of painful? Then step 3 of your ecology checks, make sure that you have aligned the new pattern with your values, beliefs, and rules. Ask yourself, is this new behavior or this new feeling that I'm going to consistently use, is it consistent with my values? Is it consistent with my beliefs about how I need to be as a person? Checkpoint 4, make sure the benefits of the old pattern have been maintained. Again, ask yourself, will this new behavior or this new feeling that I'm using still allow me to get the original benefits, the original pleasure that I got from my old pattern? And finally, checkpoint 5, make sure that the change will be long-term and that your conditioning has been effective. Imagine the thing that would have triggered you to adopt the old pattern, to feel bad, to overreact, or to smoke or drink or whatever. And notice now, do you feel certain that you'll use the new pattern instead of the old one? If you do, your ecology check is complete, and you can be certain the pattern will support you from now on.
What you know about it. Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. You have been listening to an extended version of the show. We were tuned in to Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. This is an audio recording and book initially to help you tap into the great personal power that you already have to make the changes in your life that you're looking for. What did you get from tonight's show? If you want to, you can reach out to me at askro@gmail.com, and I can even feature your comment here on LA Talk Live at my next show. What you got out of tonight's show. You may not have all the details to it yet, but if you've done the exercises and you apply it, what did you gain? What shifts are you going to make because you've received this information tonight? Really, really powerful stuff. He's a great mentor, in my humble opinion. And if you really want to take it like a giant step forward, he's got a ton of other programs that he can, that you can be turned on to. The very first thing that I did from Tony Robbins' library, if you will, is Get the Edge. This was a breakthrough moment for me when I was trying to make some serious changes in my life. I picked up Get the Edge, and I haven't stopped since. I also picked up a couple of his other programs. I think it's Mastering Influence and Creating Lasting Changes or Relationships. I can't remember it, but both of those programs were great as well. So if you want to check into more of his work, do so at anthonyrobbins.com. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I hope you got a lot out of the show. Come visit me. Yes, thank you. Come visit me at rhonabennett.com. Check out some of the other things that are going on. I will be going on the road with the ladies this week to Oklahoma. This is a private show, but we're going to be in Toronto, Canada on, I want to say, June 30th for the Pride Festival. We are the headliners there. It's going to be a blast. I'm already knowing. Every time we do a Pride Festival, it's off the chain. So come visit us if you're in Toronto, Canada. And if you want to know where else we will be this summer, we've got a few pretty cool dates coming up. Check us out at RhonaBennett.com. I have everything listed there. You can see if we're going to be in a city near you. I would love to hug your neck. As I said before, I don't think I have them out anymore. Yes, I do. My mini books, man. Find and pursue your passion, even with a regular job. You can get that at the Empowerment Store at RhonaBennett.com. And you can also pick up Got Motivation, How to Stay Motivated. I'm also coming out with my third mini book. Finally, oh my gosh, what a task. It's been such a challenge, but I wanted to do the research because I felt like this was something that people were really hungry for. How do you eat better on a budget? These are the questions I'll be answering in my next book. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week, 9 p.m. PST, baby. Perspectives Corner with Rhona Bennett. Take care.
Travel in search of you. Seems I had so many things to do. In search of a wine I didn't taste. All was lost in a fool's haste. Oh, what a waste. Traveling, I'm broken into, but my heart still searches for you. Traveling, I travel in search of you. Seems I had so many things to do. Traveling day by day, trying to find my way. It couldn't be real, but it happens that way. So my heart keeps searching for you, day, day, day. Traveling in search of you. Seems I had so many things to do. Travel in search of you. Seems I had so many things to do. Traveling, I'm broken in two. I'm searching for you. Traveling.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, and crafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.